Hi guys, welcome to another episode of the Tale of 4 Geeks painting tips videos. So today is going to be a super fast video, much shorter than the normal ones that I do, and I'm just going to quickly show you how to remove mould lines. It's a really basic tip. Hopefully most of you guys will know it anyway, but for those of you that don't, maybe it'll be a useful one. So as part of the casting technique that most of the miniatures companies use, and Games Workshop are included, they use two-part mould, and as you can imagine, the moulds sandwich on each side of the model, and where the moulds meet is where there's some excess liquid, that kind of excess material that kind of leaks out of the mould, and what that does is causes these tiny little mould lines. And you can see, if I get the model nice and close and refocus it, you can see there's a line that runs all the way down the model. If I grab my hobby knife, I might show you a bit easier. There's a line there that runs all the way down the model, all the way down the side, under his arm, down the length of the leg, down to the bottom of the foot. If you turn the model up to the top, it also carries on all the way along the crest of his helmet. Now obviously this is a metal model that I've got in my hand. It's one of the old Glade Rider models, but it was a particularly good example that I could pick up. You'll find some of the newer plastic kits don't have such an issue with the mould lines, but as the moulds get older, so when you're looking at kits such as, say, a Chaos Marauder kit that's been out quite a long time, or the old High Elf Spearman and Archer kits, those sort of things, plastic kits that have been out a good length of time, mould lines can get really bad because the moulds are getting worn out, and that means that more and more liquid is escaping from that mould. So it's really important that you know some easy tips just to get those mould lines off, and to make sure that's not a problem, because the issue is when you're painting with a lot of washers, which most of us tend to do now, as soon as you wash that area, the wash will settle in that recess like it's detail, and it will be a really obvious mould line, really horrible mould line on your model when it's finished painting. So the tools that you're going to want to be looking at for cleaning mould lines are a hobby knife and a range, ideally, of different needle files. Now all three of these are the ones that Games Workshop produce. So the needle files come in a pack of about 4 or 5, and the hobby knife comes with a few replacement blades. So I'm not necessarily using the sharpest blade. This is one that I've had in my knife for a couple of weeks, but it's still more than sharp enough for scraping off these mould lines. It's nice to have a couple of different shapes of needle files as well to get into the nooks and crannies. So the first thing to do is to find that mould line again. What you do is pop the sharp end of your blade on the model and scrape downwards, and you can really carefully scrape away the mould line. So there you go. If I hold that at different angles now, you can see where the mould line was. There's actually none more there now. I'm going to quickly finish this one off, and then you can see the whole effect. So in actual fact, you can see underneath the arm there, can you see that great big bit of flash that's sticking out? So that is actually something that just wants carving away completely. You carefully cut that away with your knife. Down the side of his helmet, there's a big one there. And then that nasty one across the top of his things. Now these can be a bit tricky because you don't want to take the detail out of the kind of fur. But usually if you just scrape sideways, your knife should find itself falling into the recesses anyway, and it should just fetch it out. Anything with fur I would recommend doing with a knife rather than the files. The files tend to take away the detail, but the knives tend to follow the curvature of the strands of fur there. The other things you need to watch out for is sometimes on the sharp parts of the model, like the end of the boot there, or part of where the shield would attach there, you see these little knobs, and that's where the material is injected into the model. So you can just carefully snip those off. There we go. So I've done both sides. done all the way along the top of his crest, done down the side. Now one thing you can do at this stage, oh look, there's a big bit of, that's a perfect example. There's one of the bits of the tube where they inject the material into, so you can just snip those off. So then what I would do then is to just to finish off and make sure you've got a nice smooth finish, is take your needle files, and where you've made those scrapes, just polish them, flat them, and you end up with a great surface for painting on again. That's the end of the video. Hopefully that was short and sweet enough just to get the point across, but it's a really simple technique. It makes it much better when you get a much better final effect when you've spent all that time painting your model. Thanks a lot for watching, and I'll catch you on the next one.